We stayed true to our commitment, though, in becoming home rule, and we have done everything we should have done becoming a home rule community. Matteson committed to do things, and we will show you that we've done many things that we committed to by becoming a home rule community. So, let me give you some ground rules before tonight's meeting. We have a lot to cover, and we only have 2 hours. We will get through this in the 2 hours we have allotted, but we will try to even cut it shorter than that. All of our presenters have been given a time to speak. All of our presenters have a short time to speak. We will flow through everything. We will not have an open mic for questions. Okay, we will not have an open mic for questions. We will be giving out postcards, and you will write your questions on the postcards. Gladys, will you be giving out Gladys in the back room will be giving out the postcards. Please fill out your questions on the postcard, and we will answer them as they come. If we do not get through all the questions, we will put a Q&A post on our site where you can get all the answers to those questions that were not answered tonight. All right? So it will be a Q&A section on our website for all the questions that were not answered tonight. So to get us started, I will bring up our village president, Sheila Chalmers-Kern.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. But before we get started on tonight's meeting, I'd like to take a moment to introduce the dedicated individuals who work tirelessly to serve our community. So please join me in recognizing our committed Board of Trustees. Would you all please stand, and then I'll introduce you. Trustee Craig, would you give them a wave? Trustee Barr. Trustee Martin. Trustee Shorter. I wanted to make sure I introduced them because we want to let you know that these are the individuals that help to make policies and help with the work that we do here in the village itself. And so we want to recognize each and every one of them. We are delighted to welcome several of our esteemed federal, state, and local partners, including none other than our good friend, Congresswoman Robin Kelly. Please stand. Senator Mike Hastings is in the house. I believe Debbie Myers-Martin is on her way, and we will recognize her once she has arrived. We also have Supervisor Calvin Jordan. Please stand. Each of them will share a brief update on key developments at their respective level of government. So please join me right now and give a warm welcome to my friend, our Congresswoman, Robin Kelly. You got to put 2 bucks.
Thank you, Madam President, and good evening, everyone. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. Just want to congratulate all of you for taking the time to be here, because it's really important that you come and hear what's happening with the village. You have the opportunity to answer your questions. Citizens need to be active also, and I want to compliment the President and the Board of Trustees for hosting an event like this. There's so much I can say, but I'm not. You know what's going to happen on Monday, and so we have our seatbelts on, and we are going to be ready for a wild ride. But I just want all of you to keep the faith, keep the hope. There's a lot of good people in DC. We're led by our awesome leader, Hakeem Jeffries, and the balance is so tight that it'll be really hard for a lot of things to get done, and it'll be tighter the first 100 days because some of my colleagues are leaving. They're going through their confirmations now. So their positions have to be filled. So in the first 100 days, we're going to try to get a lot of things accomplished that can't be changed. And a lot of us work in a bipartisan way. It's just going to be tough. We went through this before and we made it through, and we will make it through again. And I just want to let you know, thank you for all of your support of me. It truly is an honor and privilege to represent you in Washington. Thank you. And I'm running out because I'm right next door.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Senator Mike Hastings, and it's always a tough act to follow with the Congresswoman. She's phenomenal. She does a great job for us in Washington, and thank you so much for your partnership, Congressman. To the mayor and to the Board of Trustees, I represent 216 to 217,000 people. I represent close to 18 municipalities from Lockport down to Joliet, all the way east to Markham, south to here in Matteson. I'm proud to say that Matteson is, whether you call it Matteson or Matteson, it's depending on your property tax value, and we're going to talk about that. I am proud to work with Mayor Sheila Chalmers-Curran and their board. They are the most civil, the most thoughtful, and probably one of the most respectful governing bodies that we have in the south suburbs. We have the polar opposite in certain other towns, so I can tell you that for sure. I want to keep my remarks very brief in terms of what we're doing and what we've done. One is we've strengthened our parks and our green spaces here in Matteson, whether that's providing an OSLAD grant in the millions, or $600,000 in this particular instance, to millions of dollars in capital improvement grants. I really truly think that it's benefited Matteson, whether that's for your roads, whether that's for, parks, whether that's Caboose Park, whether that's redoing all the parks in Matteson, for that examples. That's really a great thing. We're improving our local infrastructure here. Unfortunately, you're going to go out on Cicero Avenue, and you're going to see all the different cones and all the different things. Most people hate that. Those are good things. It means we're improving our safety, we're improving our turn signals, and because we have great leadership here, the beautification of Cicero Avenue and Route 30 is on the rise, and that'll attract more businesses. We're very excited about that as well. Let's talk about property taxes here, right? Unfortunately, the southwest suburbs has been overassessed. And luckily, we have people that work here and that represent you as a trustee, work in the assessor's office for Rich Township with Supervisor Jordan. They're there to help you protest and appeal your property taxes. We understand that senior citizens are having a hard time paying the property tax bills because they went up. There will be a bill proposed by the Cook County Assessor that'll deal with a circuit breaker for senior citizens and those that are lower income. I think that'll have a net positive effect to at least relieve the burden on property taxpayers. And this Sunday, I believe, my op-ed will be published in the Chicago Tribune in regards to homeowners and auto insurance. The rates for homeowners and auto insurance have gone up exponentially from 26 to 50% year on year for the last 5 years. Those insurance carriers have reached a $133 billion profit level up until Q3 of last year. That's crazy, guys. And when you're paying $200 more, $100 more for your auto insurance, $200 more for your homeowner's insurance, that's your grocery bill. I know that because I have 2 kids. It's expensive, guys. Trust me. Those are my broke little friends. We're going to introduce 2 bills that'll provide transparency for insurance. The bottom line is this, is that my success is based on your success. My success is based on our collaboration between municipal government and the state. And I'm really proud to have that cooperation between the Village of Matteson, the Rich Township, with our leadership structure that we have here. Matteson is on the rise. Matteson is moving forward, and I'm really excited about it. And I can't wait for the great things to come. And if any of you ever have a question about anything that relates to state government, anything that's related to policy, my office is always open. Sergeant Major Howard Robinson, who's the former Command Sergeant Major of the National Guard, runs our office. He's the nicest man you'll ever meet. You can come up to him, well, maybe not. Ask his wife, Deborah. No, I was kidding. Go up to him after the meeting. Talk to him. Get to know him. The relationships we have, guys, it's all about our community. I live here in the neighborhood, so it's not hard. And I know a lot of folks that live here in Matteson. We're here to help you. I appreciate your support and allowing me to be your senator. God bless you guys.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
We couldn't decide if I was coming up right now or not, but that's what happens when you're slightly late. So I apologize. I am State Representative Debbie Myers-Martin. I represent the 38th District. My district falls within Senator Hastings' district, so a lot that he mentioned tonight goes for me too. We're partners in Springfield. We collaborate on what we can do best for our communities, for our district, for our municipalities. I'm a former mayor, so I certainly understand the challenges that mayors have in the Southland in particular, because we're always looking for those resources. We're always fighting the challenges that the South suburbs have, which of course most of you understand the challenges that the South suburbs has. And so it is great to have a partner like Senator Hastings, Senator Joyce, Representative DeLuca, Representative Davis, because we are a network. We collaborate, we talk, we have conversations, we have dialogue, we strategize about how we can bring the most in resources to the Southland. And so it's my privilege and honor to represent the 109,000 people in my 9 municipalities that I represent. As I said, the senator said a lot of what's going on. I first came into the General Assembly in 2019, and luckily, thankfully, that was the year of the Capitol bill. So there were lots of dollars flying. We were able to set aside dollars for our communities. We are now beginning to see those out the door. It was a 5-year program, and we're finally seeing those dollars. I know that Anthony knows about the money that came to Matteson for several projects. IDOT is always updating me on programming work that they are doing here in the Southland. Even though we complain about IDOT sometimes in the way that they service certain communities, that being said, we are always having those conversations about how we can get work done here in the Southland. I see the police chief. I also work with the police chiefs in my 9 districts. We meet on a quarterly basis and we talk about crime. We talk about how we can improve safety for residents. And so it is very fortunate for me to have that relationship with those 9 police chiefs. And they know that they can bring issues to me that they want addressed at the state level, and I'm always happy to do that. I also work a lot with DCEO because economic development is a big issue in the Southland. Now in Matteson, I'm happy to say that Mayor Chalmers Curran has brought a lot of economic development in recent years. And so Matteson is extremely fortunate to have a mayor and a board that cares about the people who live in their district. I also see Supervisor Jordan, and it is, again, it's a network. It's a fabric that we work together. My office is in the Village of Matteson. I'm right on School Avenue by the library. I always welcome residents to come and talk about concerns, recommendations, issues that they have related to state-run programs, agencies, resources, job creation, economic development. And I file quite a few bills on behalf of people who live here in the Village of Matteson as well as other parts of my district, because you have that ability, you have that power in order to create legislation that can make things better for all of us in our community. So I am very happy to be here to talk about the state of the municipalities, the state of Matteson. I'm happy for you to come to my district. I would love to talk with you about the programs, the projects that I am working on. I'm just recently creating a mental health advisory board with many concerned residents who feel that mental health is a big problem and needs to be addressed here in the village. We talk about that in criminal justice reform because sometimes when police go out to address an issue, it's not really a police issue. It is a mental health issue. And so sometimes there are other counties that are beginning to see that and beginning to strategize about how we can better address those kinds of problems. So I'm happy to be here. My door is always open. I welcome conversations. I welcome your recommendations. And I thank you and I thank the village for inviting me to speak this evening. So thank you very much.
First, I want to say good evening. I'd like to recognize the mayor, the trustees, also the leaders, the officers that are within Matteson. As I often talk about, Matteson is our capital in Rich Township. And I can go back during the days when we used to have venture here. I was a kid in college, and I've just seen so many changes. But the collaboration in what you guys are doing, and when you see the stakeholders that are here, the individuals, the residents, that means that this community is on the move. I was here when things were spiraling, but one thing that I learned in life, things will get better. As they said, joy comes in the morning. And I can truly tell you, when I look at the caliber of individuals that's to our left, I had a chance to firsthand when we had CN Railroad, when we had the train cars, the rail, and helicopters all in the air, to have the first class team that we had with the fire chief, with the police chief, and all the support system, that thing could have gotten out of hand, but they were on it. The entire team was there. You handled it in such a way. I was there with the mayor when she got calls from Senator Duckworth and Senator Durbin, and with the EPA, it was like Johnny on the spot, and it was handled well, and they moved people in and they moved people out. That's what you call real professional people, period. It's not about the title of being elected. This is what people do. So again, I am elated to be here tonight and to see, first of all, you can always have electors, but when you have the residents, it speaks volumes. And what has taken place, I've watched Matteson as it has grown, and the numbers, I can tell you this, people fail to realize that in Rich Township, we was the fastest growing township in Cook County, 5.5%. Paula, you know, with the permits that were issued for building and everything else, no one did that. So when you ask and see what takes place, even when you look at the schools, the middle schools, the high schools, I mean, a lot of great things have happened and people feel safe. And I can also go back to you when things started to happen during COVID period, when people were coming in and people were breaking into stores. You didn't have that in Matteson. You know, people knew, don't come, you weren't going to bring it to Matteson. So that speaks volumes. So, you know, I know we got to get on with the program, but when you see a congressman, you see other individuals that are here, you just don't get that. This is a group that's together. These are stakeholders. These are people that are really concerned about what takes place. So I can truly say I'm glad to be a part of this. And getting back with the township, I'll take one more minute, is that it's good when you get a township of the year. But I couldn't have done this if I had not had the partnership with the Village of Matteson. You guys have always partnered. You've done more partnership with us when we host different events, when we do the senior event, which is huge. As a matter of fact, hopefully if everything goes well during the summer, we're going to have a senior facility and an administration building over in Matteson. And it's nothing like seeing the seniors enjoy. It's nothing like the quality of life when they can do things and when they can go places and be a part of. It's nothing like being able to go to the walking track. But I tell you, it wouldn't have happened without you all and what you all were able to convey and work with us in that land. So I am extremely excited. The township is excited. Matter of fact, we got our team sitting in the back. I want to thank Trinette Brick, who's our administration, the collaboration she does and working with Anthony, working with Keith, working with the entire team. This is what we do here. Pantry level, we feed record numbers of people, doing all sorts of things to make a difference. And again, I have to say, with the accounting, with the assessor's office, with Sam and with Paula, the number of people that you see in the various communities constantly, having people to come in and making a difference and providing the different services. Homeland Security, working with the police officers, but things you used to do, you don't have to do, that we can send people out and make a huge difference. So again, I can go on, but I know that there are other great things that the leaders have to say here, and I'm just so elated to be here. And Mayor Chalmers, I really appreciate the job that you have done here. You've done one of the finest jobs around here. So again, I thank you. I thank the entire trustees, and I thank your entire team. Thanks again. I just thank you, our elected officials. Just want to make sure that
Because of so much being said, that I truly didn't want to sit there and not thank some individuals that are here today. A lot that was mentioned today, we wouldn't have even known about, in reference to what happened with CNN. Our police and fire, unbelievable. And the fact that this community was the only community that the Secret Service chose to be here and to be here in this community. It speaks volume as to the safety. Not only Secret Service, the FBI, everybody. When people were asking about what was over there by Target, it was because of this particular town that they chose to be here. And I couldn't sit there and not say, because we're going to be talking about some other things, but thanking our fire and police for the safety that they bring to this community. And I didn't want to have that lost on what we do today. But one of the things that I want to mention, because I know Anthony wants to get right into this economic development, and I want him to do that too. But I want to thank each and every one of the individuals, the stakeholders that joined us today and gave us inspiration as to what they're doing, not only in the federal level, but on the state level. We appreciate that. And without that partnership, none of what I want to do for the Village of Matteson is possible. So I want to thank them again. Before I take my seat, because I want to let people know that I'm honored to announce that in 2025, I will be serving as the first vice president of the Illinois Municipal League. This opportunity is a privilege, and it allows me to advocate for the benefits of all 1,294 municipalities across Illinois. By working collaboratively, we can address the pressing needs for local government at both the state and federal level, ensuring a brighter future for all of us. So this here and this position, I hope it will amplify what we do here in the Southland, the good and the bad, and hoping that they can see what we do here and why it's beneficial for them to want to be here in our community. So with that being said, I'm going to go into what is going to be, I know, for all of you, a great ideas that will come forward today, because we'll have all of our department heads talking today. And they're going to talk about what's happening in the village, where we've been, and where we're going. So I'm excited. I'm excited to hear more about it, and then we're going to talk about it and maybe have some individuals ask questions. Because I want you to know that what we do here in the village is important to all of us. So I'm going to let Anthony get right into ED, and I just wanted to thank them before that. So go ahead.
thank you. I also want to make sure that we do introduce one of our trustees that's just come in, Trustee Carolyn Palmer. And I got to echo the president's sentiments about our elected officials. The amount of funds that we've received from Senator Hastings and our Debbie Myers Martin this last 3 years has been remarkable. We've received more money. I mean, I've been doing this for 8 years as village administrator, and I've never seen so much help from the state of Illinois. I bet in the last 2 years, while she can echo, can shake his head, about $3 million in the last 2 years. They've given us enough funding to actually do improvements at all of our parks. And then the corner of Lincoln Highway and Cicero, man, that's about a $13 million development on the corner of Lincoln Highway and Cicero. And I gotta say, without the help of our state rep, our state senator, and also because that one is also help funded by the federal government. So our Congresswoman Robin Kelly helped that also, along with Dick Durbin and Tammy Duckworth. So I just want to make sure I say that. And that's $12 to $13 million. And then we as a village did kick in some to assist on that corner because we want to look really good. So we put some added streetscape into that corner also. So I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited to see where we're going. And a lot of that's happened because of becoming home rule and we have more funds. So I'm going to dive into economic development. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of what's happening right now with economic development. And then Mr. Keith Chambers will come and give you an overview of what's happening in historic Matteson. And then our community development director, Ernest Roberts, will come and give you an overview of what's happening on the community development side. And I know those names all seem similar, community development, economic development, but they are different in some ways. So he wants to come give you some things that's happening on that side. We're oil and water, but we work well together. All right? So, Jeanette, make sure I got this right.
No.
Right. All right. So a year in review, we are doing well this year. And from an economic development perspective, we have, over the last several years, done something that was actually really anchored by our Board of Trustees to change our sales and become more diversified. So often in communities, when it comes to economic development, they focus on sales tax. In the Village of Matteson over the last several years, we put a focus on not just focusing so much time on just retail sales. Although we're still getting good retail sales, we pushed ourselves to do more industrial development. As you all probably look down Central Avenue corridor, we've developed so much more development there. And actually that development has helped us also on the retail side, because those individuals who are now hired in all these new industrial developments are now shopping in the Village of Matteson. Second thing we did is we focused a little more attention on our business retention and also our office businesses. I don't know, most of you all may not know, and the president just mentioned about, the CIA and the FBI, et cetera. We have a lot of those people located right here in the Village of Matteson. Cook County put the health department right here in the office building right next door to here because they saw something favorable in the Village of Matteson. So we put a focus on making sure that we were doing more development around our office buildings along with the retail. The last thing we did is we looked at disenfranchised areas, and Keith will give you an overview of what's happening in historic Matteson and in strip centers that are not being, developed as we want to. We're putting a focus on those areas as we move forward. We put a major focus on historic Matteson because we realize that we can't just focus on our Cicero Avenue corridor. We need to look at the entire village. So business that's opened up this year in the Village of Matteson, just want to give you an overview of what's happened. Forefront Ventures opened up in the Central Avenue corridor. Forefront Ventures is the largest cannabis cultivation center in the state of Illinois. It is opened up here, state-of-the-art facility. It's a new industry, as we all know. Cannabis is a new industry in Illinois, but we can't run away from it. It's like any other industry. We want to be on top of it and bring it to our village. We also, Matteson has a Holiday Inn, which you're sitting in right now. This is Holiday Inn. We also opened up a Holiday Inn Express right across the street. We took the former Country Inn and Suites and converting it to a new Holiday Inn Express. Jet's Pizza is opened up here in the Village of Matteson, right down the street from here. And then we've also had Express Employment and also Elevation Individual and Family Therapy. As you all know, and I'll just say this, there's a lot more therapy facilities opened up in our area. As we talked about earlier, we need to make sure we're taking care of individuals, not just on the health side, but on the mental side. So we are pushing to make sure we do more of that in the Village of Matteson. Things that are now in development that's happening right now in Matteson. With all the development we see happening, we're happy to mention that Chick-fil-A is being built right now in the Village of Matteson, right across the street. Former Mr. Benny's is just got purchased. We have a new owner of the former Mr. Benny's, and she's going to be putting in, well, her and her company, we're putting a new restaurant into the former Mr. Benny's. This building that we're in right now, we know it as Holiday Inn, as I mentioned. It is now being converted into the new Marriott Delta. So this will be turned into a Marriott here, along with the Fairfield Inn in this building here that we're in now. So for the first time ever, we have a Marriott in our platform. We have never had Marriott as part of our hotel. We have 5 hotels now, and now we have a Marriott in our village. Ironclad Solutions, again, another development that happened along the Central Avenue corridor. And then Alexi Senior Living Facility. As most of us know, it closed a couple of years ago. We now have a new developer who's bought it. They are now in the process of working with the state to take over all the assets. And we will begin to have the senior living facility back in operations on Ridgeland Avenue. So really happy to see that happening. Well, I talked about, us looking at disenfranchised areas. We're also putting a very big emphasis on areas that have serious violations. Yeah. Most cities you see this happening and they just let it keep going and keep going. We're not going to stand for it, and we really are cracking down. We have closed, and we are in the process of closing 2 more facilities in the Village of Matteson if they're not doing what you deserve as residents in this village. So we are starting to shut these places down. We recently shut down the Presidential Inn on Governor's Highway. We are right now in the process of shutting down 2 more strip centers that you see unoccupied and that's not doing what they're supposed to for our village. And that's part of the reason why it's that way. It's delivered by the village. We're going to make sure they do what they're supposed to for our village, or they're going to have to leave. So we are working on that. I know the big elephant in the room is the former Lincoln Mall. Yes. We know it's always a big elephant in the room. It is a large space and it takes a lot of time. But finally, in 2024, with the help of this village board and stakeholders, we finally got the TIF created for that center. Yeah. I gotta say, the TIF had to be created. We cannot develop in Cook County, better yet the state of Illinois, without having a TIF in place for something that large. So the TIF is in place. We also was granted by the federal government new market tax credits. What that does is it gives tax credits to commercial developers. This will allow us to bring in more commercial developers, and they will get tax credits for bringing in their commercial development in that center. That will be discussed more as we continue to finalize the development. We have housing developers who are ready to go, who are eager to get in to do some housing development on the site also. So it won't just be retail. We are diversifying, as I mentioned. Hotel developers who also want to create an additional hotel. I will say this, they were interested in bringing in a Marriott, but with this becoming a Marriott, they may switch to another Hilton product. A children's museum is in the works also for the Market Square Crossing property. This person has very good knowledge of new market tax credits, and she will use those to make sure she is incentivized to bring in the children's museum. This spring, we've already started conversations. We will start cleanup on the site, so you will start seeing some grading and on the site, so we can get the site ready for building upward. And then lastly, Next Site, which is a company that the board approved us to bring in to do more marketing for that property. So they are on board and ready. We will be working with them over the next couple of months to ensure that the marketing is done to ensure that that facility, that center, is what we want in the future. So, marketing is a major part to economic development. And I don't know if you all have seen this lately, but we have now gone to paper, TV, and radio. Matteson is being marketed on both on TV, paper, and radio. We have been shown on everything from ESPN, ESPN in the morning, news stations, etc. And we are really pushing to ensure that Matteson is shown in a good light. And I'll just have to say, Jeanette Ramos, who was just up here working with me up here, she's done an incredible job to ensure that we are marketing very well in the Village of Matteson. We are doing more content marketing. Social media has become a major part of what we're doing. We're ensuring, now I gotta say this for all the departments, they have all done a great job, including our Recreational Services Department, of ensuring that you get information on the spot. And we've also done a great job of ensuring that every department can be accessed from the internet, not going into the office to pay bills. We now have the ability to do everything online. And then last thing is our streetscape development is still in the works. As we talked about Lincoln Highway and Cicero, we will continue this year to do major work on our streetscape. Let me just say this, and that concludes most of what I'm going to say about economic development, but in the upcoming board meeting here in the Village of Matteson, the village will be appointing a new economic development director. I won't have to stand here and act like I'm the economic development director. I'm not. But we will have a new economic development director. We're excited about it, and we will be able to move forward in our next board meeting where she or this person will be appointed. All right? Thank you.
All right, good evening. Good evening. My name is N. Keith Chambers, and I am the Deputy Village Administrator for this great village of Matteson. I got corrected one time. I was at an event, and I got corrected because I mispronounced it, but I want to make sure I say Matteson all the way through. In this role, I have the privilege of working with all department heads on a variety of issues and projects, and on other special projects where needed. There are two focus areas that I would like to highlight this evening. One of those areas of focus within the village's agenda stands within the village's agenda of social responsibility and care. And some of that's always kind of been touched with. To that end, here's a question for you. Are you aware that 1 in 5 U.S. adults experience some form of mental illness over the course of their lifetime? And 1 in 20 experience serious mental illness. In partnership with Rich Township, Rich Township Victory Apostolic Church in April of 2024, the village held its second annual Mental Health and Wellness Summit Resource Fair. This event was dedicated to addressing the growing need for greater mental health and wellness services in our region and to put valuable information in the hands of families in need. It's important to change the narrative and add to the destigmatization of this disease. It's okay not to be okay. Each summit featured 6 cross-ranging experts in the field of mental health and wellness. There were 12 to 20 local and regional providers, and attendance for the 2024 summit was well over 300 plus attendees. We were very proud of this work and we are doing in this area of social responsibility and care. Okay, took me too far. Another one of those special projects that I have the pleasure of working on, and with this fantastic team assembled here today, is our historic downtown Matteson revitalization plan. An exciting future for an historic past. The village held an open house event rolling out the plan to the community in September of 2024, where residents, investors, interested parties were all able to obtain details on the project. Now, you talk about a story. Time does not permit me to go into the details of it, but let me share with you a snapshot of the overall plan. It's a 5 to 7 year reinvestment designed to improve the physical character of our historic downtown while also preserving and building upon its rich history. The vision sets its sight on historic downtown Matteson becoming a vibrant, inclusive, thriving hub that honors its rich heritage while embracing sustainable growth and innovation. There are 5 key components, each of which are on display in the back on easels for your view. They capture the vision and upon completion will truly transform downtown historic Matteson into a go-to destination in the Southland region. Now, to the snapshot. The primary components of the plan, as you can see, is historic downtown Matteson Main Street, which I'll go into, Memorial Center, Caboose Park, Metro Station improvements on Main Street, and historic downtown Matteson Welcome Corner. Now let me briefly share with you about each. In July of 2024, following an extensive application process, the Village of Matteson became one of 5 communities selected to become a member of Illinois Main Street. This distinguished state program will serve as a strategic partner in the village's efforts to spearhead our revitalization efforts and to heighten the appeal as a place to visit, to live, work, do business, and invest. For those of you who are not familiar with the institution, Illinois Main Street supports in a variety of ways a network of communities across the state of Illinois that are working to bring prosperity to older and historic downtowns and commercial districts. Illinois Main Street is a branch of its national organization, Main Street America. Now here's the bonus to this affiliation that I need you to chime in on and think about. They have a remarkable track record of performance at a 90% success rate. And with an estimated return on your investment, for every dollar you put in, they have a $10 return. Now that's a compelling position to be in, a compelling partner to be with. We have with us today, and I'd just like for her to stand just to say hello, Miss Dion Bo. Miss Dion Bo. She's Vice President Executive for Main Street America. Not only that,
I'm the Chief Programs Officer.
see, I done elevated you.
Promoting, sir.
Yes.
And I am a Matteson resident as well.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. Our official structural rollout of historic downtown Matteson Main Street is slated for spring of 2025. Now let's take, if you will, go with me and take a visionary drive down Main Street to our historic downtown. Target for the southwest corner of Lincoln Highway and Main Memorial Center. This is a tributary area for recognition of our first responders and to those who have served in the military. It will be a beautiful place for visitors, offering serenity, reverence, filled with green space and honorary stations. Groundbreaking is targeted for 2027, 2028. Now, if you would go with me down from Lincoln Highway, we're going to move south down to Main Street, will come to Caboose Park, the centerpiece of the plan. This is a complete transformation, turning this barren, underutilized space into an ideal location as a community gathering space for all sorts of planned activities that include upgrades to famous Old Plain Trail, adjacent to the park, planned events featuring our famous caboose, and some other features such as flex lawn, stage area, and more. Again, all on display in the back. Transformations are currently underway, as you will see from the next couple of slides, and where groundbreaking for the first phase of development is slated for spring of 2025. But before I showcase the park development, I would like to also share with you a very important announcement. Some of it had been hinted about, but we want to make that announcement. We sent out a press release this morning, and if you would, then I'd like the president to come up and make that announcement.
Well, I think enough has already been said in reference to the grant that was for the Village of Matteson. It will be $600,000 that will go to our parks, and we will be able to utilize that in the Village of Matteson. And this here is not something that happens to all the different communities. This is something that will be here for the Village of Matteson. I want to give a hand to not only Keith Chambers, but to Jeanette Ramos for all the work that they have done in order to make sure this is possible. This here will elevate what was once a vacant lot into something that everyone can visit and be proud of. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you, Jeanette. I want to thank you, Keith, for the great work that you've done. I also want to say to you that this here was not only done by these individuals. We had the Lieutenant Governor who came here and walked up and down our main street in none other than historical Old Matteson, and I was really proud to showcase our community. So I want to congratulate each and every one of you for the work that you've done, and I'm excited about it, and I know Keith is going to give some more details on that. Keith, right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So congratulations to all. Congratulations to the Village of Matteson.
Just so you know, this is a very competitive grant. Eligibility for multi-year funding is available. The village is one of 27 communities that was awarded this grant in Cook County. Now, the crown jewel of the park, our historic red caboose, number 9951. Restoration began in June of 2024, and 4 months later, we held a ribbon cutting for its transformation in October of 2024. Incredible craftsmanship, restoring this symbol of Matteson's rich rail history. We look forward to sharing this community jewel in the months ahead and the years to come. Now let me move across from Caboose Park, across Main, over to the Metro parking lot. This project is targeted for completion in 2029. However, the transformation process is currently underway, elevating the aesthetic appeal and standards of the area. The village acquired ownership of the west parking lot in November of 2024, and the resurfacing and beautification will begin in 2025. Phase 1 engineering for a new metro station began in April of 2024. And lastly, the south end of the Metro parking lot is what we call the welcome corner for historic downtown Matteson. As you can see from the slide, the current view and the future status, day and night difference. This is targeted to become completed in the fall of 2025. And we are all excited to report that the village was also awarded the American Bloom Grant in September of 2024 to support our local efforts for this portion of the revitalization plan. Thank you for this opportunity to share some exciting aspects of our 2024 journey as Matteson continues to move from good to great. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year to you. To Madam President, all the elected officials, department heads, administration, and residents, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out tonight. We're pretty excited. My name is Ernest Roberts. I am the Director of Community Development for the Village. And I've been a resident of the Village since 2004. I've seen a lot of changes, but I'm pretty excited. We had a very power-packed 2024, and just want to kind of go through some of those with you quickly. So in 2020, when I joined the Village, community development barely had a handful of people. We had maybe one code enforcement person for the entire village. It was really amazing to see the change just in 5 years, what we've been able to accomplish. We're up to 6 full-time department folks as it relates to building, code enforcement, and we also have a new planner that's coming in the next month or so, a village planner. So we're excited about that. We have 4 different divisions in community development: planning, zoning division, building services division, engineering division, where we have 2 consultants, one for civil engineering and one for building, to help us do reviews of buildings that are over 20,000 square feet, and our code enforcement division. We wanted to sit down and look at the needs of the village from a practical standpoint, as well as mentioned earlier, as it relates to being digital. Mr. Burton was very instrumental. I remember we had a conversation in a staff meeting, and he said it doesn't make any sense that people would have to come in and to pay their bills and to get things done. They should be able to do it online. So we worked tirelessly to get that done, and we'll go through that in a moment. But just very proud of my staff. We covered the entire village as it relates to our code enforcement zone. We have 3 full-time code enforcement officers now. All their information is on the website. If there's any issues or any information, you can always reach out to them accordingly. But again, this is our chart breakdown, so we're very excited as far as how we've expanded the department. And again, these are some of the items that we deal with. We actually deal with a lot in the village. Once everything goes through economic development, we're kind of the process department to make sure everything goes from basically the business license portion all the way to certificate of occupancy. So we cover, again, zoning administration, engineering plan reviews, inspections, structural plan reviews, and our latest citizen service, what I mentioned earlier, is our new software program that we have now. We're very excited about that. It's very user-friendly. If there's any issues, our staff usually can help the contractors get through. But we do license, contractor certifications, business license, and anything as it relates to permits and new development that's coming in. They can all do that online. They can pay online. There's a workflow process. Emails are sent to us, and we make sure things get done in a timely manner. We've gotten rid of a lot of paper. We used to have permits that were stacked for years in our storage area, and so now we're looking to transition for that. So we're excited about that. We've been busy last year, so we did over 1,148 total permits, and I did a little research going back to 2004 and including COVID. This was the 4th or 5th highest year for permits, and that's residential, commercial permits. So things are really moving, and things are getting done in the village. So again, I'm thankful for the staff to be able to get that done. And then 986 annual inspections. So with the police department, we've instituted our crime-free housing ordinance, and so community development does the rental registration. What used to happen is point-of-sale inspections were the only time that we would do inspections when things would change as far as the sale of property. Now we do it on a yearly basis, because what we don't want is, we don't want rental properties to fall in disrepair, and we want to let the landlords know that these are the standards that the village is implementing. We want to make sure that things are getting done on a yearly basis and that they don't fall behind. So I think that that's quite a number. So we were very busy as it relates to the 2024 construction projects. I know a lot of people wondering, hey, where's my street getting done and what's going on with how the Village of Matteson uses their funds. Well, I will tell you, we've been very busy. We have two major funding sources. One is motor fuel tax, which is usually based on population, which I'm not really a fan of. We have 75 lane miles of roadway. We have a lot in the village. We're 10.2 square miles, so we're not a small village. So we have a lot of roads to maintain. But last year, we had a lot in MFT. We have six collector roadways that we have in the village. Collector roadways connect two arterial roads together. So your 207th, your main streets, and 216th and the like. They connect everything together. So those definitely have more value and more traffic. So as you can see from the chart, we had a lot of, in the red, we did a lot, almost 1.3 million in MFT street repairs, as well as what we call TIF, tax increment financing roadways around the village. We got that taken care of as well. We also focus on our bike paths. Preservation path was 3,000 linear feet. That was Invest in Cook project too as well that we got done in 2024. It was in disrepair. We had a lot of water main breaks and the like that was there, and now it's fully reconstructed. So if you haven't had a chance to go there, I encourage you to do so. I know there's a lot of bikers in the area. We are focused on getting our bike and trail system up to speed as well. And again, in 2020, one of the things that we focus on is plans. So again, briefly, some of you may be familiar with this. This is on our website. Every April, we put out a new street list. And basically, we try to show what streets are in good repair all the way down to poor condition. And again, we wanted to make sure that we categorized that. We actually had cameras to run around to each location, each street. So we now know what needs to be done. We know the budget. And so for the long-term comprehensive plan, we make sure that this is posted on our website for everybody to be able to view. So again, this should be up in the spring of this year, and we plan on doing this going forward so that the residents can see what needs to be done and what has been done. And as mentioned earlier, the final slide that I have is our grant rewards. I've never seen an amount to this level. We were over $10 million in funding this year. And again, it goes back to the staff, it goes back to our elected officials to be able to help us to get these funding. I'll just go through a few of these. Some of these you may be familiar with. The 207th Street Bridge replacement was in disrepair. That was $1.2 million we got from Rebuild Illinois. The Surface Transportation Program for 207th Street from Crawford to Cicero, and Main Street from US Route 30 to 216th. And you can see there that was funded at 80% federal funding. Commerce and Economic Opportunity Grant funding, we got a bunch of those for water main replacements, Lincoln Highway Streetscape, Market Square Crossing, and the like. We also had a Cook County ARPA fund for Valmer Road and Red Barn, which was prone to flooding. We got that funding at 100% at $450,000. That would be design, construction, and construction engineering. So we were very happy with that. That's been an issue that's been going on for at least over 10 years. For the first time, we received CDBG funding, which was the Community Development Block Grant through the county. And we received an award for $300,000. And that was for 213th Street, 213th Place and Maple Street. And that was based on the load of mod calculations from the county. We also received a 100% forgivable loan for IEPA for lead service line replacements in old historical Matteson. That covered over 650 homes. from the B-Box service all the way to the homes that were there. We've had several meetings already, and we're excited. This is phase one. We're getting another 2 million plus this year too as well, all the way until all those homes are completed. So that was huge. But most towns don't get 100% funding. They have to pay a lower interest rate, but we got it at 100%. So that was really excellent. The Army Corps of Engineers, Section 219 funding, Violet Lane water main. We have several water mains in the area that we want to update. I'll let Public Works get into that more. But again, we received another $1 million grant for that. We also have a CMAP, Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning, CMAP grant. So what we want to do is do a infrastructure plan that goes for the next 5 to 7 years. It includes streets, it includes all of our assets for the village, as well as any other hardcore infrastructure. What that will do is that will allow us to plan for the future and be able to allocate funds accordingly. We got that award. That was $250,000, and I think the village only had to pay $5,000 of that. So that was really huge. It's about 12 to 16 months. I'm going to push it to try to see if we can get it 7 or 8 months done, because we want to get it out as quickly as possible. And the last one that was mentioned is the $600,000 OSLAD grant, which was for Caboose Park. So we're excited, and we had a really good year this year, and we're looking forward to 2025. So thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. To our president, members and staff, I'm going to break a record. Keith is the apostle.
All right, well, let the church say amen.
All right. As I said, Keith is the apostle. Ernest is the bishop. I, as a pastor, are going to stand up before you and just do 5 minutes. Amen. I'm honored to be here this evening. I'm the superintendent of public works for the Village of Matteson. The Matteson Department of Public Works is a full-service operation. I say that because there are many communities around here that are not full service, but we as Matteson Public Works, we do everything within this village. We don't fur out a lot of our work. We do it in staff, and that is done by us, and we take pride in doing that. The Matteson Public Works consists of 30 employees, 2 administrators, 2 administrative office assistants, 3 water billing workers with a supervisor, 2 vehicle maintenance, 2 building maintenance employees, and 19 public works. To give you just a short synopsis of our daily operational maintenance that is performed throughout the year. Throughout the calendar year, we maintain approximately, as already been stated, 75 lane miles. The exception of Ridgeland, with the exception of Ridgeland Avenue, Vollmer Road, and Central Avenue, and Central Avenue south of Lincoln Highway. The reason why I state that is because sometimes it's misunderstood when services are not done to perfection. Particularly sometimes plowing is done and it's not done well. People think that it's public works. We're not responsible for those roads, but we do work very well with Cook County, and as well as Vollmer Road, Cicero Avenue, and Governor's Highway are maintained by IDOT. But we maintain all the arterial roads and all the internal roads. But we do have a very well working relationship with Cook County and IDOT. In 2024, we received over 539 various work order requests through our online work order management system. We responded and completed 463 of those 539. Those that were not done were possibly missed because due to seasonal work, concrete, things that are done that would take seasons to be done within a certain time frame. But we will finish and complete those projects within this coming year. We purchased and applied over 30 tons of asphalt, filling potholes on our roadways. We had and repaired 29 main breaks. We daily have water-related customer service to our customers, our residents, and businesses. We applied roughly 1,400 tons of road salt, plowing and salting village streets and municipal parking lots. We ordered over 77 yards of concrete. This was used to removing and repairing sidewalks, curbs, and driveways and aprons. We removed reset streetlights that were damaged due to vehicle accidents. We repaired numerous streetlight outages. We collected bi-weekly water samples from various locations throughout the village, sending them to the state certified lab to ensure that our water quality is potable and free of contaminants. We mowed and maintained over 160 acres during the months of April and October. We removed 17 diseased trees, over 170. We chipped and trimmed numerous branches and branch boughs and grind stumps. These numbers do not include the multiple trees that were damaged as a result of a tornado that hit our town July 15th. During that time, that affected multiple subdivisions, that tornado uprooting, damaging numerous parkway trees and residential trees. Our staff, they worked rigorously through the day and overtime to remove, mulch, chip, and discard these village parkway trees and those along the roadway, and also assisting our residents with damaged trees that they brought in from the rear of their properties. That storm event resulted in the removal of more than 23 trees and tons of brush, branches, and debris and tree trunks. Projects that we did and we completed within the year of 2024. We've had painted over 300 hydrants within our subdivisions. This is not including in the previous years, we've had painted 250 hydrants each year, working our way through the entire village to have our hydrants looking aesthetically pleasing. We planted over 20 parkway trees. We repaired the Central Avenue bridge decking. We added security to our village water system by adding high-resolution video surveillance cameras at our Vollmer pump station, at our reservoirs, both our water towers, and the Public Works grounds. A number of meters have received a life expectancy, so knowing that this happens and to keep our time up, we purchased over 1,000 meters and message indicating units to replace the maximum age meters in some subdivisions. As of today, we installed 628 of those meters. Our president and trustee gave approval to remove and replace the Apple Oak sanitary lift station. We have acquired a contractor and purchased the materials. The project will begin operable within the next coming weeks. Public Works and the Community Development collaborated with the Army Corps of Engineers to replace the Violet Lane water main. Additionally, we worked in conjunction with our consultant engineers to assist in the milling and resurfacing of several streets this year. We will be doing more this year. We also will be removing all lead service lines, as Mr. Roberts stated earlier, all lead service lines in town at no cost to our village residents. This will be done. As I come to a close, time would fail me to mention all the tasks that DPW do on a day-to-day basis. But I can assure you this, if it's not operable, if it's broken or in need of repairing, we will be there to repair it. The year of 2025 is going to include a vast amount of aesthetic improvements in construction. We admonish you to buckle up, put on your hard hat, and enjoy the ride. I want to say this, I'm thankful to be able to stand here today. 4 months ago, on this day, I was in surgery for open heart surgery. I had a quadruple bypass, but by the help of God, I don't look like what I've been through. I thank God. I give him the glory. I thank my family. I thank my work family. It was a beautiful thing to be able to have the support of this village. Not one time did they try to push me to get back to work, but all they seemed and showed was care for my health. And that is a great thing, from the village president to the trustees, to the village administrator, my co-workers, my assistant superintendent, my staff. They worked, and I thank God for each and every one of you, and I thank God for having this job. I'm Gordon Harden. I'm the superintendent of public works. My staff and I are honored every day to serve the businesses, homeowners, and the community, and every citizen in this town. The best is yet to come. God bless you.
Good evening. My name is Lori Webster, and I am the manager of community engagement as well as the special advisor to the mayor. I am also a proud resident of the Village of Matteson for 25 years. Oh, wow. So as my role of manager of community engagement, I connect with residents to foster meaningful relationships through inclusive events and programs. I collaborate with local organizations and businesses to create initiatives that reflect community needs and interests. My role includes being a community liaison to the residents, a liaison for the Housing and Human Relations Commission, coordinator for events and programs, organizing major events that include Concert at the Hall, Taste of Matteson, the Memorial Day Parade, National Night Out, Senior Luncheon, Tree Lighting Ceremony, Christmas in the Southland, and the Harvest Fest. My role also includes being an outreach specialist, overseeing programs such as our Summer Youth Program and our Launchpad Entrepreneur Program, which actually started on Tuesday, which is a 10-week partnership with Tribe Insights, and they are off to a great start. As special advisor to the mayor, I represent Matteson at the local, regional, and national conferences such as the U.S. Conference of Mayors, National League of Cities, National Federation of Legislative Women, ICSC, and Illinois Municipal League. Attending these conferences allows me to gain valuable insights to innovative practices, legislative developments, and community-focused initiatives. I translate this knowledge into actionable strategies that benefit the village's administration and enhance the quality of life for our residents. In this role, I foster meaningful relationships, partnerships, and share key learnings, and position Matteson as a leader in the community of engagement, developing, and municipal innovations. So the mission of the Community Engagement Department is to create a thriving, interconnected community where every resident feels valued, heard, and empowered to contribute to Matteson's growth and success. Matteson has had a remarkable surge. So Matteson has had a remarkable surge in community engagement across various events since I took this position in 2019. From the Memorial Day Parade to the annual tree lighting ceremony, participation in numbers have increased, highlighting a growing sense of community spirit. And here are a list of some of our upcoming programs that we have for the year to look forward to. And as we reflect on 2014, it was a year of growth and connection, showcasing the power of collaboration and shared purpose. Looking ahead, we want to expand our senior programs, enhance community engagement through innovative events and partnerships, promote sustainability and initiatives through education, strengthen inclusivity, and ensure all residents feel empowered and represented. Together, we can create a more connected, sustainable, inclusive Matteson. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Hill, and I am the Recreational Services Deputy Director. 2024 was a very exciting year for the Matteson Community Center. Let me make sure I get my slides first. Okay. There have been numerous successful community engagement programs, a variety of infrastructure, organizational improvements, new health and wellness incentives, and much more to get us looking forward to 2024. A few highlights I would like to introduce regarding successful programs this year includes a new pickleball, workshops and clinics that include open play and expert instruction lessons. Our youth basketball league and summer camp both reached record number of participation, so we're very excited about that. The Matteson Community Center also celebrated community events, holiday programming, and an introduction to a new tradition, like our first annual senior prom for 55 and up. So I hope to see you in November for that senior prom. You'll have a great time. With the introduction of new programs, this had to come with additional infrastructure upgrades. To list a few notable improvements made, this year includes a newly renovated tennis courts on our campus. New pickleball courts was added to the outside courts, and pickleball lines were added to the indoor gymnasium floor to accommodate new pickleball clinics. The gymnasium floor was professionally cleaned and received 2 coats of polyurethane. The dance studios at the Matteson Community Center and the Oakwood Recreation Center was also resurfaced and polyurethaned. We also received new vending machines that included where you can use tap and pay. That was a big issue with our youth population. They never have cash. So now we have vending machines and they can tap and pay. The fitness center also received upgrades. In the fitness center, we upgraded our men's and women's steam rooms and also our spin room. If you haven't been there, our spin room received a beautiful room design. Also, in addition, the Memorial Park Fieldhouse has been renovated along with the bathrooms. So I'm looking forward for you guys to see that. Lastly, when talking about organizational improvements, Recreational Services implemented the Community Pass online software. Some of you may receive emails from that software. It's a platform for program registration, communication, and making operations more efficient. To improve communication channels, Rec Services also brought back our leisure guide. You may see that online, and we do have copies at the community center. This helps keeps residents informed about our programs, program events, and the Rec Services department. Our department has been fully digitized. If you didn't know, registration process to everything from parks and recs rentals to fitness memberships, programs, and special events, all can be online now. And I want to give a shout out to a very special young man in my department, Antonio Webster. He is now our systems administrator. This could not be done without him. I just wanted to acknowledge him tonight. Through these improvements, it has allowed Rec Services to also bring in new health and wellness initiatives for our members and guests. A couple new initiatives include brand new group fitness classes such as pound fitness, kettlebell, and circuit training. And an additional aquafit aerobic classes have been added on Thursday nights. And we actually have a brand new fitness incentive. It costs $25. It offers individuals a fitness baseline assessment, personalized fitness routines, and equipment training. I do want to note too that we are, sneak peek, I want to give you a newsflash, we will be working with Garza too. So I just thought of that and I want to make everyone know that we are going to be partnering with Garza to bring the weight loss camp here. So I just want to stay tuned for that. And speaking of equipment, the fitness center also incorporated new equipment such as treadmills, indoor cycles, ellipticals, row machines, hip abductors, leg press, and the Jacob's ladder. As I conclude my presentation, I would like to recap that we have so many new programs: pickleball, senior prom, Newport's dance studios, health and wellness incentives. I am so excited for what's to come. Rec Services is an important part of this community. We've introduced new infrastructure to the Matteson Community Center, including new flooring in our fitness center area, rental rooms, and hallways. That is to come for 2025. On top of that, we're going to be implementing the final stages of our Memorial Park Fieldhouse. Innovations include new windows and doors, new ceiling and floors, new appliances, security, cameras, and Wi-Fi. This will allow Memorial Park Fieldhouse to be back functional, open for rentals year-round 2025. Here is to a great year and even a better year to come. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Kobe Ingram, and I'm the IT manager with the Village of Matteson. Just to give you a brief background, most of my duties are usually involved assisting the other department heads, whether it's from hardware installation upgrades to software installation upgrades. Tonight, I would like to highlight some of the website changes we did over the course of the year. As a joint project with the Economic Development Department, we have transitioned to online forms for several of your frequent requests. These changes were designed to make your experience smoother and more efficient. For example, you can now apply for building permits, inspections, and business licenses through the website using online software called CitizenServe. The link to CitizenServe can be found on both the Community Development page and the Clerk's Office page, depending on which permit or application you need. Water bills can now be viewed and paid for online to serve you better. You can make a one-time payment or create an account to use additional features. Additional features can include bill due reminders and automatic payments. You can also pay using various methods like Apple Pay, Google Pay, and Venmo. The link to the online form can be found on the Finance Department page. Public Works now has an online form to report work order requests such as sidewalk repair or tree removal. You can select the subdivision if applicable and upload a picture if available. The progress of the request can be tracked through the portal. The online form can be found under the Public Works page under Work Order Requests. For those interested in leisure activities, you can now register for recreational programs online for you and your family. Through our updated application, Community Pass, you can search for and register for programs and renew your community center membership. The Community Pass link can be found under Recreational Services. As you scroll down, you can select Programs. Also, our Community Bulletin Board has an online request form where postings for non-for-profit events can be viewed on our cable channels. The cable channels are Comcast Channel 4 and AT&T Uverse Channel 99. All the details needed to submit your request are included in the form, and you may attach an existing flyer or memo with your request. The links can be found under the How Do I/Stay Connected page of the website, where you can also access the Matteson Avenue newsletter, the Village social media sites, and more. In the year ahead, we are planning to transition more forms to be completed online, including employment applications and forms and requests for the clerk's office and the police and fire departments. We are also planning a website redesign with better navigation and easier access, amongst other features. This is a brief overview of the recent enhancements to the Village website. I encourage you all to visit www.villageofmatteson.org and explore the available resources to stay connected. Thank you.
All right. Wow. Okay. It's great to come up here. I am Michael Jones, the police chief. It's great to come up here and look at the crowd and realize that I've been here a long time and I recognize the vast majority of all of you guys. So I have been in policing for 28 years and I've been so honored to be your police chief over the last 11 years. I truly find myself I feel like I am the luckiest police chief in the Southland. I go to about 75 different agencies for meetings, and I have residents that truly support us and love us. I have a board that buys into every security ask that I have, and I have a great team and a great department. So, I mean, what more can you ask? I will disclose this. I was given an opportunity to interview for a vacancy position. As the head coach of the Chicago Bears. I turned them down because as you can see, the future is brighter here than it is with that organization. And I think I just gave our village administrator a heart attack. One of the things that we've been working on is making the most progressive department in the Southland, bringing up our numbers. As you know, it's been tough over the last 10 years, but we've had successes. And every single year that I've asked for more police officers, your board has graded me, whether it's 1 or 2, and we're getting our numbers back up. We're currently at 43 out of 45. We still have some retirements coming up. Several in the police academy. We did work with our HR department, and we enacted a lateral process, which is a great process for us because we're getting officers from other communities that absolutely want to be here. And it's saving the village tens of thousands of dollars in training costs because they're already certified. We've made several different promotions throughout our department, and we're just bringing our numbers up. And I want to tell you guys that because it really reflects on the safety and security of our village. Our village is a through community. That means to get off of I-57 to get to Frankfort or Olympia Fields or Chicago Heights, you have to go through the Village of Matteson. So that brings a lot of traffic through our community. So for us to be out there being visible and vigilant, it reduces crime and it reduces crashes. We've also been real active in being smarter in technology. Through the Safety Act, we have a lot more different training that we have to get certified in, such as de-escalation, crisis intervention, mental health awareness. So we've been smarter in getting technology. What you see up here is one of our sergeants wearing a virtual reality system that is interactive. And it is for not just use of force incidents, but also de-escalation and actually articulating ways to de-escalate a high-risk situation. It's a new training opportunity for us. We're one of the first agencies in this area to obtain that, and we got it through a grant. Speaking of grants, We've been very active this year. I'm so proud. I have to give kudos to Deputy Chief Jeremy Sims, if you can raise your hand. Through his work, we've brought in over $2.1 million that we've used to purchase a lot of this technology. And it's not just grants just for us, and I want to speak about region, because as has been mentioned before, we kind of consider ourselves the capital of the Southland. What happens in some of our other communities either affects us or will affect us. So what we do in the Village of Matteson to empower our agencies around us, our police agencies around us, helps us to reduce our crime in our community. We recently obtained through Congresswoman Robin Kelly's office a $900,000 regional grant through the Village of Matteson that's going to help support all of the agencies within the Southland through technology. That is a huge, I often say, and I've told Congresswoman Kelly, because she's known me since I was a rookie, that sometimes I feel like the Southland doesn't get the same respect that Chicago and the north and west suburbs do. So for her to bring in almost $1 million, and Senator Dermott another $1 million, these are grants that we're sitting on right now. And then we also have a program for asset forfeiture. We have a detective that's assigned to a task force, a federal task force. And just last year, he brought in over $250,000 that we've used to purchase a lot of these technological resources. So the thing of bringing technology into policing is we're trying to be smarter. Smarter policing is the term that we like to use. Some of the things that we're looking at is we were one of the first agencies in the Southland to get body-worn cameras. Every state of Illinois agency, there's over 800 state of Illinois agencies, have to have body-worn cameras on all their law enforcement officers by 2025. We purchased ours, 6 years ago? So we were ahead of the game there. We're one of the first agencies in the region to go to license plate reader cameras. These license plate reader cameras are strategically placed throughout our community. It lets us know when a stolen car comes into town. It gives us instant notification. Because if they're in a stolen car, most likely they're going to prey on one of our businesses or residents. And we're able to locate that car, and oftentimes they don't stop for us, and I say that's okay, because they're not going to be in Madison anymore. That's what I care about. Those license plate readers are only used for criminal aspects, so we use them to investigate hit and runs or retail theft, and even help solve several homicides throughout the entire region. These license plate reader cameras of the system, we're connected with tens of thousands of other camera systems throughout our entire country. So that interconnectivity helps us investigate a lot of these crimes that may have occurred in the Village of Matteson or in our region. We recently bought a couple drones. We instituted a drone program. We've used these drones to search for fleeing felons, as well as missing and endangered people. Going back to the license plate reader camera, I want to share a good story. We actually had a senior resident that had dementia, and we were able to track her all the way to Michigan City, I believe. And within a few hours of her family worrying about our resident, we were able to locate her, get her stopped by the Michigan City, Indiana police, and get her back to her daughter. So that was a good success story. Our drone program has been so helpful to us. The president mentioned the CN Railroad crash and derailment. Rather than sending officers running up to these tankers and putting them in danger of possible fumes from whatever is in the tanker, we flew the drone in and were able to read the placards to give that information to the fire department, so that we were able to mitigate that situation safely and not put other people's lives in danger. So the drones, you'll see them up at some of our fests and events, and it's been a good asset. We have increased our cell phone forensic technology through another grant that we were able to obtain to help our detectives investigate some crimes. You see our UTV, our utility terrain vehicle. We're thankful. We've been purchasing that over the years with drug asset forfeiture, so thank you to the Mexican cartel for donating the money to us. This past year, we purchased e-bikes which is very cool for our officers to use. It helps get them around and be able to handle things. So you'll see those implemented this once the weather breaks. And last, you'll see our speed trailer signs. The Village of Matteson, like I said, it's a through street, and we all know. I know every single street in town that has speeder problems. Balmer, Willow, 207. I know them all. I hear your complaints. We just purchased another 7 speed radar signs that we're putting up in all of our school zones to help reduce speeders in that area, to protect our kids. And then you see our speed trailer signs, and they do a job. They do a job. I tell you what, when I drive through them, like, why is everyone slowing down? I'm like, oh yeah, we put that sign up there. So through our streets, I can tell you every year we average approximately 800 traffic crashes per year. That is way too much for a town of 20,000 residents and 10.2 square miles. But like I said, we're a through city, and that causes 800 traffic crashes per year. I'm not saying they're all injury, but a lot of fender benders. But that's more than 2 traffic crashes per day that we're investigating. So those speed radar or trailer signs are a big help to us. I always say this at one point. The president told me, she says, you run so many programs out of your police department. And I love that. So some of the things that we're into is Special Olympics, Family Youth Initiative, National Night Out, Police Department, Santa. We found some victims of a shooting. The whole family was shot up by an estranged husband, and they moved to Madison. And our officers actually raised money, brought toys right before Christmas, dressed up as Santa, and we sent a whole caravan of squad cars there. I love that about our department. And finally, 2025, we're bringing a lot more initiative. We're looking to expand the police department, increase our visibility, and make the police department a place where you feel safe coming to it. A bigger lobby, a bigger training room, a community room. Things we currently take in your medication at our police department. We're open 24/7. It's a safe place if you have to meet somebody on the internet to purchase a car, because if they're going to commit a crime, they're not going to do it in our parking lot. So we're getting ready to roll out TIP 411, which is a new software system that gives you the ability not just to report crime over the internet, but also to upload pictures and send us texts and emails. We talk about crime-free housing beat meetings. We have school resource officers on another grant. I think it was a $125,000 grant. So we have school resource officers in both school districts. And again, increased transparency. You're going to see online, we actually put up our annual report, which was something like 70-some pages last year. And then we put up all of our police policies on there. Not many cities do that, but we do it because we want to be transparent. And again, going back to this, we handle about 24,000 calls for service per year, and you will actually get to see the breakdown of it. So again, I thank you. I'm proud. You can look back and see some of our young officers standing in the back there. Wave your hands, guys. And just thank you for letting me do this. It's been a joy. It still is, and I'm going to continue to do my thing, because that Bears job is not going to.
Good evening, everyone. Madam President, Board of Trustees, staff, guests. Police department is always a hard act to follow, so I promise. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to be brief here. Oops, I apologize. The Madison Fire Department is made up of an administrative staff. I am Michael Bacon. I am the fire chief at the Village of Matteson. I was born and raised in this town. I'm a graduate of Cedar Prairie Grade School, Ridge South High School. I started here in 1991, and I never looked back. My deputy chief, his name is Chris Dito. He could not be here tonight. He is actually in class. And we have Angela Harris, who we were able to take from another neighboring community of South Holland, and she's a wonderful assistant and been a great asset to the community. I'm going to go to the next slide here. So the Matteson Fire Department is comprised of the fire chief, myself, the deputy chief, who is in charge of operations. This year, the village board was gracious enough to re-implement our fire inspection program, who works very closely with Mr. Ernest Roberts. And then Firemen work 24 hours on and they're off for 48 hours. So we have 3 different shifts that work, commonly known as gold shift, black shift, and red shift. This is a nationwide system that is used. Each shift is comprised of 11 firefighter paramedics. And of those 11 firefighter paramedics, there is 1 battalion chief who serves as the shift commander. And then each station has a lieutenant who is in charge of that respective station. The Village of Matteson does have 2 fire stations. Station number 1 was built in 2003. It is the headquarters. My office is there. Deputy Chief Dietl's office is there. Angela Harris is there. And then there are a total of 5 firefighter paramedics with 1 battalion chief, 1 lieutenant, and 3 firefighter paramedics. It is also home to Southcom. Southcom is the 911 dispatch center that serves Matteson, Olympia Fields, Park Forest, and Richmond Park. Station 2 is located at 1015 Central Avenue, which is essentially Route 30 and Central. It was built in 1973 and is currently staffed with 4 firefighter paramedics, 1 lieutenant, and 3 of them being firefighter paramedics. In 2024, the Matteson Fire Department responded to a total of 5,717 calls for service. As you can see with the historical data, we're rolling up approximately 3 to 5% in calls per year. I'm going to give you a quick breakdown of some of the calls that we do. Like any fire service, our bread and butter is the ambulance. You constantly will see the ambulance going up and down Route 30, Central Avenue, or Vollmer Road. 3,641 total responses for the ambulance throughout the village. The color codes that you see up there, you'll see BLS, ALS, motor vehicle accidents, and so forth. The difference between BLS and ALS is BLS is a basic life support. That's when the ambulance shows up to your house, puts a Band-Aid on you, and it's a basic transport. An ALS transport is what's called an advanced life support transport. That's when we have the cardiac monitor. That's when we start an IV. That's when we make a more aggressive approach to EMS, or the early medical management system. The village is very gracious, provides us top-of-the-line equipment. Everything from an auto load to the ambulance, which means our guys are not throwing their backs out. They're actually using powered stretchers to lift people up in and out of the ambulances. This breakdown here, we're showing good intent calls, are calls for service where we arrived on the scene and we were unable to locate any issues that were there. Service calls are everything from, we assist the police. As you can see, last year we assisted the police on 508 calls. That could be helping entry into a building, looking for a missing person, and so forth. 629 total trouble and false alarms. A lot of folks have medical alarms in their house where they hit the pennant and it helps us. We come out, we help you back in the bed, and so forth. That falls under there. This is our aid given and our aid received. One of the things that we do as Matteson, we are able to help provide assistance to neighboring communities. And they come in and they provide assistance to us as well. Last year, we only called for aid. I apologize. We gave aid 409 times. That means on 409 different occasions, we helped a neighboring community that was in need. And in the meantime, they came and assisted us 284 times, which is about the norm. We look at igniting progress. Public education has been a big key for us right now. With COVID, we were not allowed to go into the schools, we were not allowed to go into nursing homes and so forth. Now with that being gone, we have an aggressive public education committee who is teaching CPR and basic first aid to any of our residents and constituents that are looking for the service. Suppression, the village is always doing their best to provide us with the top-of-the-line equipment to provide that aid. EMS, again, I just spoke about that. Within the last 3 years, the Village of Matteson has purchased 3 brand new ambulances along with all that life-saving equipment. Specialized response was talked about earlier. The CN derailment was enough said. Our specialized response was able to mitigate that problem before anything happened. And fire prevention. Fire prevention is with our new fire inspector who is going through working with Ernest Roberts in the building department to provide effective fire inspections. We talk about the annual budget expenses. Like most departments, 96 to 97% of our budget is based on our staff. Capital improvements that we are looking to do this year. Station 2 was built in 1973. There are a lot of original things in there. The village board was gracious to give us a new generator that will be replaced sometime in the spring. Recently, we've also received 2 different grants, one from FEMA and one from Southcom, and that is to replace all of the mobile radios within our vehicles. And the recent one from Southcom that is being implemented next week is we should receive $250,000 for brand new portable radios for all of our firemen. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rashid Jones, and I'm the Director of Finance for the Village of Matteson. I'm a licensed certified public accountant, and I don't want to date myself, but I do have over 17 years of municipal finance experience.
Still a baby. Still a baby.
I have the pleasure of working with a wonderful finance team. We have our senior accountant, Tiffany Janewski, our finance service manager, Tanner Webster. She has 4 support staff that work with her. And we also will be having a deputy finance director join our team. We're currently looking for applications for this position. It is a new role and it's something we're very excited about. I won't be before you long. I do want to touch on these 5 things tonight. I want to talk about the village's credit rating, financial reporting and recognition, our sales tax performance, the general fund emergency reserves, and our plan for excess reserves. On this slide, I want to talk about the village's credit rating. It's something that's very important. Just like in our personal lives, we have personal credit scores. The village also has a credit score. The rating is a little different, but it is something that's very important. In 2013, the village had a B- credit rating. I'm not sure if you guys can see that here, but what that is considered is a junk bond credit rating. It means people not want to invest in your community, and if they do give you a loan, the interest rates are going to be astronomically high. In 2015, we lost our credit rating altogether. It was completely withdrawn due to financial instability and management. I'm happy to say in 2023, we regained our credit rating, but not at a B level, but at a AA- level. This means we're at a high grade credit rating similar to This is something that the village administrator, the village president, and the village board pushed us to go after in 2023, and I'm very happy that we did. Some of the reasons why we were able to get a successful credit rating is because of our financial reporting and recognition. I know you hear about other municipalities that may not be current on their audits, but we're current on all our required financial reports and audits. We're audited by one of the top 10 audit firms in the nation, Pro LLP. And every year since 2020, we've received the GFOA Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. Our village president, our village board, and our village administrator make sure this is something that we go after, and this is something that we commit to going after each and every year going forward. The next thing I want to talk about is our record-breaking sales tax revenue. In 2004, we hit a peak sales tax of $8.1 million. This is when we had Lincoln Mall and those other businesses in town. But from 2005 to 2020, we saw a slight decrease in revenue or sales tax revenue. However, our economic development began yielding increased results in 2021, and as you can see here, by 2023, we achieved $9.6 million in sales tax revenue. This is the highest amount of sales tax in the village's history, period. In 2024, we plan to further exceed this number, and we plan to be at $10 million in sales tax revenue. This is just a phenomenal and astronomical growth. And so we're being good stewards of those funds we're receiving. And so as you can see here, back in 2020, just like in our personal lives, we want emergency reserves. We also need that for a village. In 2020, our emergency reserves are only at $350,000, basically nothing. As you can see here, we've experienced astronomical growth. And at the end of fiscal year 2024, we have $27.8 million in reserves. Now, I get a bad reputation for being really frugal and cheap. I don't know if it's deserved, but I want to hold all this money, but the village president, the village board, and the village administrator have been very adamant that we need to be invested in our community. So what we decided to do was give us a target of what our emergency maximum amount should be. And that number is $15 million. And so everything over $15 million we want to reinvest in the community. And right now we have about $12.8 million that we're going to be primarily reinvesting in the community. And so what are we going to do with that $12.8 million? We want to make sure you have a plan for it. We just don't want to spend it willy-nilly. And so first, one of the things we get a lot of questions about is their streets, people's streets not being done. So we want to invest about $5.1 million in pavement management and streetscape. After that, we want to invest about $2.1 million in economic development. The trustee Shorter always tells me economic development is an investment you'll get a return on, because although you're putting up money up front, it's something you'll get your dollars back on the end. Keith Chambers talked about historic Matteson revitalization, and so we're putting about $1.5 million into that fund. The next thing we want to talk about is capital improvements. The chief said we need generators, we have certain buildings in the village, so we want to put up about $1.5 million in capital improvements in the village. We also need vehicle replacements, and this is not just for small vehicles. We have fire engines, fire trucks, snow plows. These vehicles are very expensive, and so we want to put about $1.5 million aside so we always have those things available to make sure that the community is safe. And lastly, we want to put about $1.1 million in parks and recreation. There's things we always got to replace there constantly, and so that's money we want to have allocated going forward. So I told you I'd be quick. Just want to close and conclude with this. We want to continue to ensure our financial stability. We never want to go back to the place where we were at, not having a credit rating, being looked at as a junk bond community. That's not the type of community we are. We're a high-grade community, and that's where we are now, and that's where we're committed to stay going forward. And we also want to invest in the community. I won't be cheap going forward. I'll make sure we have money set aside, to invest in the community, things that we need, having nice infrastructure and things of that nature. And we want to build on this success. I believe we're a AAA rated community, and so that's something that we want to see going forward. We're going to make sure we continue to get our audits done like we have been doing. We want to make sure we continue to get awarded for those things and that nature. And that's all I have for you tonight.
I said we had a very capable, seasoned staff who will give you some incredible reports. I want to just make sure I end on, what Rashid talked about a minute ago. I want him to remain cheap, though. I will say this. I want him to remain that way. Because his commitment to making sure that the money was right, he stayed focused on that. I don't want him to ever lose that. Then it's up to the board then to say, no, spend something. So they'll make sure that whatever we need to get done, the board will push to spend, but remain the way you are. I really appreciate it. It's helped me in many ways. It's helped staff in many ways. Stay committed to that. We'll get where we need to go. So thank you. Just want to make sure also to say thank you all. But also thank all the other staff that's here tonight. I just want to make sure I do recognize all the other staff that's here in the building. A lot of them sitting in the back, but thank you all. Thank you all. But they all really make this possible. And, I got to reiterate, staff is what helps make us get things done with the support of our entire board and village president. This is how we get where we're going. So thank you all. So I want to make sure I reiterate, we do have cards. If you have questions, please raise your hand. They will give you cards if you have questions. We want to make sure we answer as many questions as possible. And again, if you don't have questions, we will have this information, all the information tonight will go on our website. So I just asked Jeanette, and so she will make it to a PDF that will be put on our village's website. Okay? And can we access? The video. Okay, got it. So perfect. Perfect. So the video will go on. Absolutely. Thank you. Okay. Any questions? We did that good of a job?
Yes.
Can you get that question first? Yeah, get that one. Thank you. Wow. Good job. Good job.
Questions first, person.
Okay. And we'll stick around. The department heads will stick around. I'm sure some of the board members may be around. If you have a question, you can ask them also. Let's get her question asked and answered. Will the water tower be painted? Okay, great question. Board, do you want to answer that? I know we are working on the process of getting it done, but I don't know if we have a timeline, but we are working on that. Go ahead.
We're working on doing our water tower, if not this year, the following year, and we have a brand new design for the water towers. They're not just going to be plain white, but we have a new design for it, and we're going to put that on the website so you will be able to see that, what we have in mind to get that taken care of.
And let me just say, we're also looking for grant funding for it also. We sticking to grant funding. We've been successful with it, so we're going to keep looking for more and more grant funding.
Okay, she wants to know, what's the plan to lower property tax?
Yeah, I don't think we can actually answer that full question tonight. I will tell you that we continue to work with Rich Township and Cook County to look at what can be done to make sure taxes are at the right rate and that we're not being over-assessed.
And I think you were here earlier when the senator talked about some legislation that they're working on to make sure that we can do something different than what we're doing now. We're all concerned about it, but one thing that was mentioned is that the portion in reference to the village itself, we have not.
We have not.
We have not. We froze ours, and therefore we would like to see other entities do the same thing. So talk to your school boards, talk to the other entities, and see if they are willing to do the same.
Yeah, front and the back, and then there was a gentleman right here.
I have another question. She wants to know, is the solar farming included in the future economic planning and development?
So let me just tell you that we still have to present before our village board. We do have some solar farms who have presented before the village. It's one of those things that you got to make sure we get the support first, but it is something that's very interesting because it will definitely help a lot of our tax-paying individuals and homeowners reduce some of their bills. So we have been looking into it. We have been presented by several entities.
Is there any future for the mall that's here, right here on?
Yes. I can answer that question. Yes. So the mall that's right. So I mentioned earlier about abandoned and unkept properties that we are condemning. That's one of them. Just so you know, we're not. It takes time. The unfortunate thing is that sometimes these things takes about 2 years to get through the process, and it's unfortunate we have to watch it go through the process. But we are working really hard. It's in court. We have fined them. I'll just tell you, we fined them millions of dollars on that center just to ensure that we take it over and that we get into the right hands.
The court has already kind of ruled in our favor.
They have.
So we're looking forward to taking over that.
Yep, the courts have ruled in our favor. Exactly. Yep.
It says, when will the construction on Route 30 and Cicero be complete?
Be completed October or November? November of 25 this year. November of this year. It's going to be beautiful though. I can tell you that much. You're going to really appreciate it. Yeah, it is. It is. It's a mess today, but it'll be beautiful tomorrow. I promise you.
Okay, the next question, what's going on with the Bomer and Central empty strip mall? Empty strip. I guess Bomer and Central?
Another very similar place. Ernest, I don't know if you want to speak on how code enforcement have been cracking down on them, has been going after him. I will say that we did have to go in there and do some, abatement of the outdoor soil because there was some contamination there. So that is being done through SSMMA, and they are working with us through Cook County to get that done. And that's going to help that center because he could not get it sold because of that contamination. Yeah.
Thank you. I have two more questions. What is the projected timeline for Lincoln Mall renovations?
As I mentioned earlier, we will begin the work today. It may take up to 5 to 8 years to get the whole project completed. It is a long process. It's a big piece of land. It takes years for those to get done.
I'm not too sure if this is a question. It just says needs tennis courts in Notre Dame Park repair.
They're talking about
Notre Dame
Park.
Wait, This is your question, so, when I ask the question, you can respond to your.
Yeah. So what is again? What's the question?
It said need reports in Notre Dame Park.
Sure. So Notre Dame, and I'll just say this, Notre Dame, when we got the grant funding from the state of Illinois, Notre Dame Park was not included on the earlier funding. We now are receiving more additional funding, and it will be the next park to be repaired. We did our 6 biggest parks first, and then Notre Dame will be the next. So, okay, before, okay.
Asking a question about traffic patrol at Route 30 and Lincoln Highway.
Okay.
It's just one lane for the turnaround.
Okay, I don't know, Ernest or Mike, Chief Jones, I mean, probably Ernest to answer that question. I will tell you, it's going to be ugly over the next 8 months. I can promise you that. But so there's going to be some things that now, if this gets to a point where we see it becoming dangerous, Chief, correct? We will then put some officers out there. But right now, I think it's pretty stable, right?
Yeah. Like Mr. Burton said, it is a mess. That's what happens with construction, and there is little that even putting an officer out there can do to control traffic in that aspect. Any requests that we can have, we'll go to Mr. Roberts and we'll let IDOT know if there's a necessity for more signs or whatnot. Yeah. Is that right?
Thank you.
So real quick, we've been in contact with IDOT as it relates to stage construction. We want to make sure that there was at least 2 lanes in each direction, along with there will probably be a shared left turn and right turn lane, just because of the different stages of construction. We did not want them to go down to 1 lane because of the traffic volumes. I'm working with the resident engineer now to make sure that traffic flow through that area is at least consistent, but there will be periods of time where once they shift and once they start putting in the medians and everything, it may get a little bit, it may back up to a certain extent. However, we'll make sure the signage is there, and we have stressed to IDOT how important that intersection to keep that traffic flow there. But it is construction, so we'll hope to be done, like we said earlier, by November 2025. So.
And just for the edification here, just for the edification of everyone here, because this question has come up several times, just so everyone knows what's happening there, they're turning that corner into a double turn lane in all 4 directions. And they're also putting sidewalk connections all 4 corners, along with having the ability for the cars to turn easier. It's become too congested because of the amount of traffic that's picking up on that corner. And now with this new development, we also, as a village, we did a streetscape plan for that corner, so it's going to be a beautiful streetscape, black turn signals and lights, correct?
Yes, so that's another thing too as well. We pitched in with the decorative traffic signals and street lights, as well as stamped medians and crosswalks too as well. It'll probably be one of the few intersections in the state that has the decorative street light and traffic signal, the black phenals, the nice decorative looking signals. We didn't want the standard aluminum poles at that intersection. So we, as part of the match, we included that. I think it was like $2.5 million that we put in to make sure that the intersection had all of the decorative streetscape elements that we talked about earlier in our plan. So we are following through on exactly what we had in our plan. So it's going to be totally redone once everything is there. Just bear with us. It is going to be a couple of months where it's going to be really kind of tight through there, but at the end of the day, you'll have increased traffic flow, and landscaping will be there as well. So,
Yep, thank you. Thank you. Glass got a question back there. Can you tell her and she'll relay it?
What? Thank you. Say thank you.
She said at Balmer and Cicero, they seem as though they keep taking out the poles and everything. Is it something that we can do as a village to put something there so then that ballers to protect the line?
Yeah, so that is definitely a county and state corner. It would take a lot. We have had a lot of streetlights get hit. We had a fatality, unfortunately, on that corner also. The balance sometimes can be dangerous. A lot of times it seems like it shouldn't be, but they can be just as dangerous as having the streetlights there. So we will look into it. We'll definitely talk about it more, Chief Jones and Ernest. But I will tell you, it's part of just this accidents that happen. But we will look into seeing if there's any more protective efforts we can do, particularly on the side where the shale gas is at. Yep. Okay. Thank you all. We really appreciate it. Have a great night. Thank you for coming.